the Madman!
Welcome to the top custom cards of the week. Let's get started with Natalie, Curious Mind, a 4-mana 4/5 dual priest warlock card, legendary. Battlecry, your hero power now deals damage instead of restoring health, or vice versa. Design 5 stars, balance 5 stars. I have to admit it is a little pointless that this is dual class because it is far better in warlock than it is in priest. But I could actually see it being used in priest because changing your hero power from heal 2 to deal 2 is worth something. And you may think that it is overpowered for warlock to life tap heal 2, but on a 4-mana 4/5 and you have to play the Battlecry card, it's like, that seems fine. Next up we got The Spy. It's a 0-mana rogue legendary, 1/1. When played for 0 mana, this is hidden from your opponent until it attacks, takes damage, or gains stats. It's a card where when played, your opponent doesn't actually know that you did anything, because there's no change in the board state from their perspective, and you just have a 1/1 in play that your opponent has no idea is in play. Design 2 stars, balance 5 stars. I think there's definitely a little bit of interesting nature in the sense that, you know, it's cool to have a card that breaks the symmetrical board state for each person. Like, you know something that the opponent does not, and it's not even like a secret. It's just like, you know it's there, but your opponent has no idea. Now, the problem is it's such a small effect that it doesn't really matter. This is not really the way to introduce asymmetric information into the game, where only you know something. And we've actually had some, you know something before. It's like choose one secretly. That's kind of a you know something secretly. But at least your opponent knew that there was something happening secretly. The problem with this card is, like, there's another fine detail, which is why I docked so many points off of design. Your opponent can just play this and then play a combo card, and the combo card will activate. And that's actually too confusing, and I mean it. It is too confusing. People will report all over the place, like, hey, my opponent played only one card, but the combo activated. Something is wrong. Also worth mentioning is this says when played for 0 mana. That's presumably because if you actually spend any mana, the opponent would know that you've played a card. I don't believe it needs that restriction. But yeah, in general, this isn't worth programming like an entire, what is a card that only you can see on your board but not the opponent can see. It's like, it's just a 1/1. It's a cool idea, but ultimately it's way more trouble than it's worth. Begrudging Avenger. Demon Hunter 3-mana 4/4 with Rush, 50% chance to attack the wrong enemy. Design 3 stars, balance 5 stars. I have a problem with the design of this card. The problem is it can be way too swingy early on. It could be a 3-mana 4/4 charge, and it has a pretty high chance of doing that. All you have to do is win the coin flip on a single attack on an enemy minion, and then bam, this thing is charging the opponent's face on turn 3. Very, very feels bad for something to be decided that fast, because 4 charge damage on turn 3 is a lot. I think the way to fix this would be pretty straightforward. You could just have it say 50% chance to attack the wrong minion, and then it can basically only change to other minions. Virgin King Gallywix, 6-mana 5/8 legendary. Battlecry, open the market. The Bilgewater Market is a location attached to Gallywix, essentially. 5 durability. Discovers a card that you can afford to play. Worth mentioning is, reading the comments, it appeared that the author intended for the market to basically give you the highest cost card that you could play. Also interesting because this is a neutral legendary in a neutral location. Design 3 stars, balance 1 star. So my problem with the design is that I don't believe that the location needs to be attached to a legendary. The location could just be a card by itself. This seems like a good general card for most people, and a marketplace does seem like a card that could be neutral. The balance is 1 star because Gallywix, you know, it's a 5/8 for 6, which is already decent stats for the cost, and it just happens to attach itself to a draw 5 card. Yes, it's draw 5 over a very long amount of time, and the turn you play Gallywix, theoretically you wouldn't want to use the Bilgewater Market because you would only have 0 remaining mana, which is not a lot of mana to be able to discover a card that you can afford to play. You could have it just discover a card that you can afford to play, which would be like any number from 0 to the current mana. You could also have it be just discover a card. There's all sorts of random things at the market. Discovering a card equal to the remaining mana crystals you have would probably break Quest Priest on the other hand. For what it's worth, I think a hypothetical 3 mana location would probably be able to, using, you know, the Cathedral of the Priest location as a guideline, which is giving you 3 card draw with 3 stat boost for 3 mana. It would seem like this could have 4 durability for a 3 mana location. Next up, we've got a legendary 1 mana Seed. 1 mana 0/3, the Everbloom. Starts dormant. After you cast 3 spells from the same school, bloom into that school's flower. So there's 7 different flowers based on the spell schools you've cast. You've got Fire Bloom. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to all enemies. Frost Bloom. At the end of your turn, deal 2 damage to 2 random enemies and freeze them. Arcane Bloom. At the end of your turn, add 3 random arcane spells to your hand. They cost 1 less. Nature Bloom, which just creates a big elemental minion. Fell Bloom. At the end of each turn, summon 2 3/2 imps. Holy Bloom. At the end of your turn, restore 8 health to all other friendly characters. Shadow Bloom. Stealth for 1 turn. At the end of your turn, destroy a random enemy minion. Really overpowered, but I'm going to, regardless, give this one the trump card of the week. Design 5 stars, balance 2 stars. I think that this card could be like the highlight artifact or like the main plot revolver around an expansion, like maybe a set based around spell schools. It definitely needs to change a lot because a number of these are really overpowered. A lot of these cards also, you're like expected to only get 1 use out of them, but if you were to get multiple uses out of them, they would be insane. It is relatively easy to cast 3 spells from the same school. It really should be treated as just 1 mana and then you have to jump through a minor hoop in order to get to this good effect. But the good effect can't be that good. So notable ones that are too good would be the Frost Bloom, which should probably have the damage cut to 1, the Arcane Bloom, which probably doesn't need the cost 1 less, the Nature Bloom, which has too many stats, the Fell Bloom, which has too many stats, the Shadow Bloom, which probably is destroying 1 too many random enemy minions and probably doesn't need stealth. So basically across the board the flowers could be nerfed, but I think that this card does well what many custom Hearthstone cards fail to do well, which is that it does keep the idea of the spell school in thought. They always deal the primary thing that their spell schools are known for doing, so it's not too complicated. Unlike the next card, Master Chef Rana, Demon Hunter, 4 mana 4/4, legendary. Outcast, destroy a minion, add a dish based on its tribe to your hand. So basically, depending on which tribe you kill, and there are 10 tribes apparently, you'll get a card based off of what type of minion you kill. And if you kill something that's an all tribe or a none tribe, you get the mystery meat. Missing from here is the totem tribe, which the author said, realized I forgot totems. This is off the top of my head. Totem toppers, 3 mana, discover a spell and reduce its cost by 4. Lol totems. There's a lot of text here, so I'm not going to talk about them all. Design 3 star, balance 1 star. I love the idea of destroying a minion and turning it into food, and depending on what minion you kill, you get a different type of food. That's really cool. The balance is a 1 star because 4 mana 4/4 destroy a minion is already too strong, but you're also getting a arguably strong card off of that. The cards in general here are a really mixed bag of foods and effects. Some of them are really, really good, some of them are really, really terrible, and I don't really want to go into the nitty gritty of it all since it is basically 11 further cards to review. But basically, this is an example which is really opposite of the Everbloom. They don't have effects that really match the beast or the pirate or the mech that you kill. It's like, why is a mech cake going to deal 1 damage to all enemy minions, then deal 3 damage to all enemy minions? That's so specific and really out of character for mech. Oh, also, by the way, demon hunters don't destroy minions. It's not in their flavor. So that's also a big negative towards design. But the idea of killing a minion and then cooking it is really cool. What I would suggest would be something like add a dish based on its mana cost to your hand. And then you have like a small mana cost food, like maybe 0 to 3, medium mana cost food, which is like 4 to 6, and then a big mana cost food, which is 7 to 10. And then maybe the food could cost that amount of mana. 1, 5, 10? That kind of matches Kazakus, actually. So, yeah, there's food to explore here. Very good, very delicious. Mrs. Merkleton, a priest legendary murloc, 3 mana 2/5, taunt, lifesteal, immune while your hero is at full health. Oh my. Design 1 star, balance 3 stars. So there is a problem with this card, which is the idea of this is a card that could single-handedly lock the opponent out of the game. It's not for the reason you think. Apparently, and I didn't know this, taunt is disabled for as long as the minion is immune. But where the opponent can just lock you out is they play this when they're at full health, and you know, that happens when a card is priced so low at 3 mana or even coined and 2 mana. You could just argue, hey, the opponent can just, hit you and then hit Mrs. Merkleton, but there might not be enough time for that. And if you actually buff Mrs. Merkleton, you can lock the opponent out of the game, because this card is lifesteal. You buff this card, you hit the opponent's stuff, and then you go up to full health, and then bam, it's immune. And, well, sucks to be your opponent. There's a lot of situations where this can just lock your opponent out of the game, and on such a low cost mana, that's a really bad idea. Next, we've got Fortune Teller. 2 mana 2/3. This card's name is replaced by the name of your opponent's deck. Meme rating 3 stars. It got a chuckle. Interesting tech card in the sense that when you draw the card, it could be named like Beast. If you're up against a hunter, you'll suddenly be like, oh, it's a Beast Hunter. Haha. Or maybe it'll be called Miracle. Or maybe it'll just be called Custom Paladin 2. Unfortunately, one of the things that would be unworkable for this card is suppose your opponent names your deck something really bad, like I'm a smelly poo-poo. Well, you would be very sad to see the card get drawn to your hand and then it'd be like, I'm a smelly poo-poo. You'd be very sad. Biased Judge, 2 mana 2/3. All of your kills are honorable. Neutral minion. Design 4 stars, balance 4 stars. Interesting card to print in the Alterac Valley set, which was based around honorable kills. Good flavor. The judge who's biased will always think your kills are honorable. Minor problem, which is currently there's a card which when you get an honorable kill with your hero power, the hero power increases in damage by 2. If you were to use that in conjunction with the minion that shot your hero power towards everything, the Reckless Apprentice, your hero power could jump up quite a lot. Now that may not be a biased judge problem, it could be a Dongrass problem, but it's a problem. So maybe the card should be a specific class. Which class would have the most bias in it? Paladin? Warrior? Not sure, but it could be one of those. The effect is pretty minor, but it's still cool flavor, cool filler. Finally, we've got the Angel of Death. 5 mana 5/6, start of game. Your first fatigue card will destroy your hero. Battlecry fully heals your hero. It's a very powerful card. I mean, it's a 5 mana 5/6 Reno Jackson with no deck restriction at all. You just have to play the 5 mana 5/6 to fully heal your hero. It comes with a downside though. When you draw your first fatigue card, which is usually when you run out of cards in your deck and then you draw a fatigue card, there's like one card that is the exception to that, which is opponent casts Curse of Agony on you, but whatever. When you draw the first fatigue card, you die. Design 4 stars, balance 1 star. I think the design is really cool, which is a card that, you know, has made you make a pact with some devilish creature, which gives you power at a cost, and the cost is like very delayed. I even like the text, start of game, your first fatigue card will destroy your hero. The design is good because of that. Now, the balance though is very, very far off. That's a 5-mana 5/6 Battlecry Fully Heal Your Hero. Fully healing your hero is a really strong effect. I mean, so strong that some people made their deck inconsistent. Some people. And put only one of each card so that they could run a 6-mana 4/6 in their deck that fully healed your hero. It probably wants different text than Battlecry Fully Heal Your Hero. It could do any number of other powerful things, which you would make a grim bargain with some sort of angelic or demonic entity to do. Maybe it could even combo with the idea your first fatigue card will destroy your hero. Maybe it could just be a card that like draws a lot of cards, and I mean a lot of cards. Maybe it could like be similar to Magic the Gathering's Demonic Consultation, I believe that card is, where it like destroys cards from the top of your deck until you get to something in particular. That would make your first fatigue card will destroy your hero a lot more relevant also. It's a cool idea, just not implemented correctly here, I'd say. There's a little bit of synergy between your first fatigue card will destroy your hero and fully heal your hero, because fully healing your hero means you're a control deck and you're going for the very long game. But the problem is like combo decks don't necessarily go to fatigue. And as much as you are a control deck and as you could go to fatigue, a lot of decks do not go to fatigue, and they actually win before that.